What is happening, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the Crash Bang Boom podcast. Today's episode is the return of guest Marcus Bryant of Phoenix, Arizona's own Adrift. Last time Marcus and I caught up, it was in person and at one of their gigs, which is to say it feels like a different world to have done all of that. But in this particular discussion, we talk about their new record, Enlightened in Eternity, the process of recording it, bands we've been digging as of late, and a whole lot more. Enlightened in Eternity is out as of October 16th, everywhere and available everywhere you would need it to be, and or for you to check it out and or to listen to it. Get your hands up on it. Crash Bang Boom Podcast can be found on my iTunes podcast, Stitcher Luminary, Google Play, Podbean, and Amazon Music Podcasts, as well as my SoundCloud and YouTube pages. Feel free to check out any previous 200 plus episodes and give me a like, a subscription, a positive review, and or all the aforementioned. Speaking of new records, check out my sponsor, New Orleans Record Press, if you're looking to release some vinyl for yourself and or your project. With options for electroplating, mastering, design, packaging, vinyl coloring, and more. Oh, and the real-time quote generator. That's right, they got that. They got you covered. They also print 12 and 7-inch records in 150 and 180-gram variants, so hit them up, and that's NewOrleansRecordPress.com. Lastly, with all the touring industry and venues being affected by this COVID madness, help out any way you can in the form of live streams for bands, lessons, tutorials, and masterclasses from your favorite musicians, as well as websites like SaveOurStages.com that are looking to provide some assistance to venues in this very tough time that we find ourselves in here. Help out any way you can. So here we go. Without further ado, Marcus Bryant, continue. Enlightened in Eternity is out everywhere. Sounds killer. Let's do it. Crash, bang, boom.
Crowds go mad with joy.
Marcus Bryant of Adrift, what's going on, man? Last time I saw you, Adrift had flown in for a one-off show over 2.5 years ago at St. Vitus. I had my first son. I've had one since then. And apparently there's a pandemic and everyone's afraid of the air AIDS apocalypse and everything's a little fucking weird right now.
Yeah, to say the least, man. Shit. God damn, it has been a while since that first time we hung out. Yeah, that's right. So you've had another kid since first time we talked.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
It's excessive. I don't recommend anyone has kids, honestly.
My wife and I have no plans of having kids. So
yeah, don't do it.
We will take your advice.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. One of the lies there's a few lies that I've realized and now becoming a parent, one of which is that when parents say that parenting is the hardest job ever, clearly they have never been a coal miner nor a firefighter and nor been a roofer in the South, nor been a deep sea fisherman, nor anything else that fucking kills people constantly. It doesn't kill you. It just annoys you. And apparently you can't throw your children out of the window and you just have to be patient, which is tough for some people like myself.
Yeah, there's no exchange policy.
No, there's not.
Exchange
No,
policy,
you got it. And then you realize there's like another 16, 17 years, depending on how old they are of this. And then, there's apparently like a nice little period, and then they turn into teenagers. And then you realize you're dealing with like a younger version of yourself, and then you realize you were kind of an asshole then too.
Yeah, that's what scares me about having them. Yeah.
So, yeah, kids, don't have them. That is that's my official statement. So.
All right, cool. No, all right. I'll
there
take that. Yeah, and I can't imagine now with like, it's good, like pandemic and that, and like,
oh yeah,
my family, like some of my siblings and a bunch of my friends, have kids, and like, what a time to be doing that, to be doing a whole lot right now. But yeah, raising kids, especially.
Yeah, man. She gave birth in May, so it was still, especially in New York. New York was the epicenter of this whole thing for April and into May, really like March, really April, May, pretty much. But it was definitely a trippy experience. Whereas my first one, I was able to like bring a couple bottles of wine, and then or leave and go to like a wine store to pick up some wine or something like that because I was going to be in the hospital for 24 hours plus. Once you got in there, you couldn't leave, and I was like, shit, I only brought like a half full bottle of wine. All I have is a half a bottle of wine to be locked in a hospital room for 24 hours. This is bullshit.
Wait, hold on. Before you lock me in, I got to run real quick. I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, they had already tested me with the brainstem test there, nasal swab, deep brainstem test. And after that point, you're not leaving. So you're
for sure.
isolated. So definitely a super weird experience. So speaking of weird experiences, man, y'all are releasing a record on October 16th. I believe this will air October 19th, 3 days afterwards. New record, Enlightened in Eternity. I dig the record.
Yes.
I think it's got maybe some more power metal vibes that I was hearing, triumphant power metal vibes between that and the cover of the record. So I think it certainly sounds good. Great production on it. We should.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I guess what's been going on? Y'all are obviously putting this record out now. I'm assuming plans have been delayed to promote it, etc. What's going on that end?
We recorded this album in January, back in January. So things still, the thing still seemed somewhat normal to us, as far as the band is concerned. Recorded that album with Bryant in Tucson. Great experience. Because Nate and I would just go down there for 5 days, and we'd take the weekends off, come back up here to Phoenix, and just hang out. And so, like, having those 2 days off, like, just kind of working it like a 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Never recorded an album like that, and it was great. It was awesome because we had fresh ears every week. Every Monday we'd come back in, bam, fresh ears. Yeah, we did that back in January, and we're getting the ball rolling, February, March, and then like, oh, shit, what's going, like the rest of the world, we're just like watching things just fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we had a summer tour scheduled with Corrosion of Conformity in Europe. We had a December tour in the UK with Orange Goblin for their 25th year anniversary. Fortunately, both of those tours have just been pushed back 1 year.
Wow.
So that's cool because I'm excited to tour with both of those bands, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been weird, man. It's been weird. You just like to work on an album, we get it mixed, we got it mastered, doing the whole thing, artwork together. And then we're like, we're not going to be able to support this thing in the usual manner.
Right.
And it's been a trip. We've stayed busy with it on the back end with like the business stuff with, now we're working with not only $20 Spin in North America, but we signed on with Century Media to handle the rest of the world. So we've been busy with working with them, doing the press we can do. And Nate never, ever stops writing. That's all I'm going to say about that. But there's always material happening in this band.
Right. I mean, that's a good problem to have for sure.
I think I can speak for Nate and myself on this. As musicians, like this time when we can't tour, it's like, all right, just start writing, start working on new material, start recording a new album. So I'm just grateful we just got that done.
Totally.
And so we have work right now to keep us busy, but still going a little nuts over here, man, without live music.
Oh, I guarantee it, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned the studio that y'all recorded at. So were y'all, first of all, where was it located again? And were y'all just going out there and staying out there for a week at a time? Is that what y'all were doing?
Yeah, so we were driving down to Tucson from Phoenix with
Gotcha.
Ryan Bram. He runs Home Wrecker Studios down there. And he's done a bunch of great stuff. Recorded a ton of AZ bands. A lot of his records. He's done like Gate Creeper records, and Kurt Ballou has mixed a lot of the things he's done. But this one, he recorded us. He mixed it. We were staying with him down there during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just great. We'd stay with him, and we'd all get up in the morning, go drive over to the studio, and do the normal thing, break for lunch, keep recording, and go back to his house at the end of the day. And it was great. It was just super, super laid back. And Nate and I were, I don't know, it just allowed for like a lot of breathing room and just a really fluid recording process.
Mm-hmm.
All the albums I've worked on in Spirit Adrift have been great. But like this one was just like I said, I think with those weekends off, man, it just made every day in the studio so easy.
That's awesome.
I mean, we talked about some of this a little bit already, but the last Spirit Adrift tour in the U.S., a really good friend of the band passed. And then right before Europe last year, 2019, I put my dog down a few days before we went to Europe. We get back. Nate had to put his dog down, which was like,
Jesus.
See, from where I sat, came out of nowhere. I was like, wait, what the, your dog's, yeah, like it was just, one of those things.
Yeah.
So we ended up going into this new record which is more, triumphant and more positive in message than Divided by Darkness.
Sure.
But now we're going in and we're just like, mourning our dogs, which some people may laugh at. But you know what? Fuck those people.
Yeah, totally.
And,
I hear you.
Friend and multiple friends, but one very recent. So it just kind of that, for me, for sure, and I believe for Nate as well, changed the meaning of some of the songs, the vibe in the studio. We're talking about loss of like friends or whatever, but trying to maintain some kind of like positive outlook, which right now I feel for me personally and for a lot of people I know is kind of needed.
100%.
People seem to be like drowning in like fucking uncertainty.
Totally.
Like what the fuck is going on?
Totally.
Nobody knows the fuck is how everything is going to play out.
Totally, man. Well, in recording the record, were y'all going there and like writing it and recording it as you went, or had y'all rehearsed this stuff, pretty much had it written, went in, and it was just a matter of performing it?
Just a matter of performance. Nate writes and has always done it this way. Nate writes the songs at home. He demos them. He works at home. He records all the songs, and then sends them over to me with like skeleton drums, skeleton rhythms. But like guitars are done, basses, maybe not done, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah,
he writes the songs, sends them to me. We kind of like go over things. We both listen to them, and we get together. And and then we program the drums, which I have never done before. But I'm really digging it because what it allows me to be more objective and not do what my body would do, and to sit there and be like, what's going to serve this song?
Sure.
Yeah, we get all the drums done together, and then by the time we're ready for the studio, like we know every single thing we're going to play on every instrument, Yeah. And things change in the studio all the time. You get the happy accidents and that studio magic, that
sure
just changes songs. But we go in there like super prepared.
Gotcha. What was the full amount of time, since y'all were doing it in week blocks? How long did it take y'all to track all the, I guess, from the drums to the guitars to the vocals, and then did you have another bass player come in, or how did that work out?
Same as Divided, for the most part. Like, I record all the drums. Nate records guitar. He recorded all the guitars, the bass, and the vocals.
Yeah. And
then we bring my brother in, which we have done on Curse, Divided, and now Enlightened Eternity. He's come in and done whatever synth work and keys we need on it. So he did the same on that. And Nate did synth on one of the songs on Enlightened this time. But yeah, Nate and I record everything for the most part.
Wow.
And that's part of that efficiency thing, is just like, if it's just like two guys, like, here are the songs, here's how we want them to sound, here's how we want them to feel.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to go in there and just boom, boom, boom. And working with Bram was great because he's just like, we just had a third person there, with a set of fresh ears, an objective set of ears, most importantly, and it was great. He knew what we wanted, and we were all on the same page. It was really, really cool.
Absolutely, man. So for the first interview that we did, which was, I guess, was number 77, I'm now over 200. Again, that was over 2.5 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, it's strange to think about it in a couple of ways, not the least of which was that it was at a live show, and I talked to you in person before you played this said live show. So one, live shows were happening, and two, I had an in-person interview, which I haven't done since now March. So talk about a completely different world. But speaking of which, what have you been doing with your spare time, aside from, I guess, writing and doing this stuff? I mean, I know you had some producer credits on this new record. Has there been some studio work or producer work, engineering work? Have you been going down YouTube rabbit holes, listening to weird records? What have you been doing with yourself?
At first, man, was like, the pandemic, everything happened, I was thriving, because I'm like, well, dude, I can work on some more music, and I like work on my own thing. Like, there's nothing out, there's no plans for shit, but I record my own music here in my house.
Right.
So I've been working on that. I've been working with Nate on press stuff for this album. I run I mean, I run a business called 16 Studios, like where I rent rehearsal spaces, monthly rehearsal spaces to bands here in Phoenix.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that for the most part runs itself, though. So
Yeah.
it's just more of like, you know, I just maintain it. Yeah, and like trying to stay like proactive. So like playing a lot of music, rehearsing a lot, not a lot of hours spent running my business.
Mm-hmm.
Reading, trying to stay current, you know, trying to like, I don't know, man. It's been weird. I've watched more movies this year, which is great. I love movies, but it's just like, So I'm just trying to like keep my head above water in a lot of ways. I got a 79 Bronco that I'm getting like resto modded right now.
Nice.
Like I'm just trying to stay busy with projects. You know, my wife and I are like fixing up shit around the house.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff I'm doing sounds like a lot of the same shit tons of people are doing, which is like, all right, I'm stuck in my house, so I guess I'll fix everything that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then catch up on some movies and some music, you know, and
Totally.
I mean, I guess it's kind of it. It's kind of it. It's because the summer here in Phoenix has been so brutal. They always are, but this year we broke a record. We had 53 days in a row over 110 degrees.
God.
So it's like, ain't doing shit outside, you know?
Right.
Like, I'm just not. Like, I'm not that person. So,
Yeah.
love the outdoors. I don't love triple-digit temperatures, though.
Right.
So that prevents you from doing a lot of shit outdoors here, at least for me. It does.
Yeah.
You know, I have friends that go hiking in it anyway. They're fucking crazy. And props to them. It's awesome. I'm just not one of them.
Right. Yeah. Have you been listening to any particular record or records since March that on repeat? I know I've gone through a couple little obsessive moments myself as of late.
There have been some, and I've been doing this thing where I try to listen to 2 records. I started with 3 and it was too much. I try to listen to 2 new albums a day.
Mm-hmm.
Albums I haven't heard. Regardless of genre or era. So like a lot of it's like old stuff, but a lot of it's current too,
Mm-hmm.
or like albums or artists that I looked over
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. So I've been doing a lot of that. So there hasn't been as much repeat, but one of which is far more recent. Dude, that new Napalm Death record is fucking killer.
Oh yeah, I gotta check it out.
I fucking love it. Yeah, it's so good. And I love like how ferocious that band's music is.
Yeah.
And for me, at least, it's very fitting, you know,
Totally.
for right now. Because like that kind of, I'm just like, dude, I just like want to get up and scream, and like they're a perfect band for that.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been spanning some strange obsessions as well. I think because of as well of just feeling like I need to have an outlet. I've definitely been cranking some metal, and whether it's like revisiting the older Exodus and Slayer, etc., or even strangely enough, I went through a little phase where I was like listening to like the early records of Bruce Springsteen, like in the mid to late 70s.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm listening to fucking Springsteen. I like got a couple of records on vinyl. I'm like, God, you know what? These are pretty fucking good. I can't deny it. Oh shit. So,
hell yeah.
The boss has entered my life officially, at least in the form of his early records. But that's been one interesting and unexpected sort of record that I've been listening to as of late.
I mean, it's not like anything new,
Mm-hmm.
but a few artists I've been doing a lot this year. Now that you said that, I'm thinking like I went on like a serious like Leonard Skinner bender again.
Oh yeah, me too. Actually, I gotta say
the
same.
first 5 albums like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because when you hit those albums, it's like, dude, there's kind of like you can't fuck with that band.
Right.
It's insane. I'm just like, holy.
The first 2 records in particular, I roll those. I mean, admittedly, I'm the little Sweet Home Alabama and Freebird. I don't necessarily need to hear those songs because I grew up in the South and classic rock radio played them as ad nauseum.
Same. Yeah.
Other jams on there where I'm like, man, this band is killer. The singing's great. You got all the guitars. It's just fucking, it's killer. I love it.
Dude, Give Me Back My Bullets. That record, Give Me Back My Bullets, I jammed a lot. I was leaning into that one pretty heavy earlier this year.
Okay.
That was good. But that, and then like Nate actually turned me on to it, and I think Sanford Parker might have turned him on to it. I can't remember, but Gene Clark from the Byrds, his 4th solo album, I believe it's called No Other.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Really?
Yeah, and then there's this song on there, Strength of Strings, I believe. I think it's track 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Nate played that for me. He came down here, and we were doing like some band stuff because he moved to outside of Austin,
Okay.
in Texas, and he put that song on. He had played it when we were on tour, and I remember being like, "Oh, this Gene Clark record, man! Holy shit!"
Huh.
Yeah, that it just like there's something in the dude's voice and Strength of Strings specifically.
Okay.
Where Nate and I were talking about it, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this dude's singing about, but I totally agree. Like you just like there's this conviction in his voice. You're like, yeah, like I don't know, bro, but like hell yeah.
Huh.
And apparently the album was a commercial failure when it came out. But whatever.
Looks like it came out in 74, so definitely mid-70s.
Yeah, 74.
That's my jam. I love all those so many records from that era, so I'll have to check it out.
Rock and roll, man, was doing some beautiful things throughout the 70s, man.
Oh my
Holy
God,
shit.
those records sound so good. Good God.
Yeah.
And
we just had the 40th anniversary of, or 40th anniversary of Bonham's death. Was that a couple weeks ago?
Right.
I don't even know what time is. It could have been a year ago for all I know at this point.
Yeah. You know what's funny, man, speaking of records from the 70s, it's a band and drummer that I talk a lot about, the Rainbow Rising record with Cozy Powell on drums. It came out in 76, so that's as old as I am. That's 44 years old. I just gave it to one of my buddies on vinyl, and he was unfamiliar with it, and he got back to me. And the side 2 is like 2 8-minute songs each, and it's just shredding fucking killer drums. It's just so good, and it's one of those records that people don't get into so much. So if there's anyone out there listening to it who hadn't heard, who isn't sick of me talking constantly about that record, check that record out from 76. It is killer.
Check it out. I'll check that record out. Hell yeah.
Absolutely, man. Speaking of, here's another one a little bit later, obviously, but the third song, Cosmic Conquest on your record. I don't know if you know the band Trouble, but on their self-titled record from 1990, they have a song called The Wolf, and the melodic line in the chorus of Cosmic Conquest reminds me of the chorus from that song off that Trouble record.
Oh, shit. Yeah, dude. Oh, dude. That was a record Rick Rubin did with them.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that record is sick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go. Yeah. I think I know it.
You'll have to check it out. Yeah, the melodies are.
I'm like singing it in my head right now.
Totally.
I'm like, all right. Yeah, because like Nate's a huge Trouble fan. I'm a huge Trouble fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit.
That's
I
another
don't know
one.
if things like sneak in there.
I know,
like
right?
you like work on something, you're like, dude, that's the shit. And I'll be like, I'll work on like a drum beat or something, like that's badass.
Yeah.
And then I'll like be listening to a record and be like, that is a blatant rip off of this fill on this song by this. I'm like, shit, okay.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. It's funny too, because you mentioned Rick Rubin, who obviously did that record, which is super interesting. But in 87, he did the Cults Electric, and then he did the Danzig record in 88. I'm not sure what he did in 89. I'd have to look it up. But then he reappears in 90 with that Trouble record, which is so awesome. So those are just like 3 early Rick Rubin records that I'm particularly a fan of, all 3 of those.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, dude, that guy's such a badass.
I know.
Rick Rubin's such a badass. Yeah, I watched, I think it was last year, might have even been 2 years. I was just like stuck in a YouTube hole somewhere.
Yeah.
And found myself just watching. I was just watching footage of Rick Rubin working with people and interviews with him. And then I found a video of him interviewing Kendrick Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best damn interviews I've ever seen, because Rick Rubin knows musicians better than anyone else.
Sure.
So he asks he asks the best questions. Highly recommend it. It's really cool.
Nice.
And the guy just seems like zen as fuck.
He is zen as fuck.
Yeah. And that's awesome. So yeah, that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Props to Rick Rubin.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell you another one that I've been mentioning. I went through this obsessive revisiting of Alice in Chains records, particularly Facelift and Dirt. And I found this video, and I haven't figured it out. If there's anyone listening to this that can inform me as to what this full show, or if there's a full show out there somewhere, but on YouTube there's a clip called Alice in Chains Live from the Archives, and the opening clip, and it's just one song. It's the song "It Ain't Like That" off of Facelift, and man, I'm assuming that's 90. That's around when the record came out, Facelift. They sound so ridiculous. Lane Staley sounds like the greatest vocalist on the face of the planet. I've been obsessively listening to it, and because of it's a compilation of like hour and 21 minutes of Alice in Chains performances, but the opening one is that concert. It sounds great, and the band is crushing, man. Crushing.
Dude, they're one of the, I'm glad you said that. Alice in Chains is, I think they're my favorite of that era.
Yeah.
Of those bands. I think they've always been my favorite. Just Lane and Jerry Cantrell's harmonies, which you can't fuck with those harmonies, man.
No.
You just cannot.
No. I know.
And I don't think I've seen that video you were talking about.
I'll send it to you.
Because I'm like, I've seen tons. Yeah, please do. I've seen tons of AIC stuff. I just recently watched I think Gibson TV does the Icons thing.
Yeah, I watched the Jerry
Cantrell one.
Yeah, watched it too. Yep.
That was great. That was great.
Great.
I was like, look, I was in awe of his record collection, top shelf, and just all.
I know, what the fuck was that? I was like, is this a museum? Is this really his house? I couldn't figure it out. I was like, are these props?
Yeah.
Oh,
he is one of my all-time favorite songwriters.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
I love Alice in Chains so much. I was on like a trip. I was like in LA and I was flying to Seattle. I was flying to Seattle the day they found Lane Staley's body.
Oh.
And I was like fucking crushed because that was like, that was my guy. You know what I mean? Like everyone has their fucking guy, whatever. I was like that.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, fuck. And we like got up there and it was just like, I think I was with my mom and I was with some like my brother maybe. I don't remember. But yeah. And it was just like oh, damn, like I'm glad I was there, but it was just like the whole city felt like it was in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just me because I was, but
I hear you.
Yeah, man.
I hear you.
They're the best.
Yeah, man. I think it's funny because when you watch them, and again, I'll send you the link to it. It's that opening track. You realize how sort of like bombastic kind of like stoner metal vibes they had, which I think Soundgarden maybe early on, maybe up to Bad Motorfinger might have had a little bit of that, but I think Alice in Chains had it more so than any of those Seattle bands, which is kind of why I distinguish them maybe apart from some of those other bands,
Like they had their own brand of like grungy vibe.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like they were like, yeah, I totally agree with you. There is a specific, and it belongs to all of those bands, or they all have this to varying degrees, but there is a certain level and shape, I guess, to the darkness that Alice in Chains tapped into that spoke the loudest to me.
Yes.
And I fucking love Soundgarden and Nirvana.
Absolutely.
I love them. But,
absolutely.
But Alice in Chains, for some reason, of the big ones, love Mudhoney, all the other shit that came around it, but like,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alice in Chains is, that's it. They were the shit.
Yeah.
And and that record, I have to mention it just because it doesn't get mentioned. But Black Gives Way to Blue, their first record without Lane Staley, is fucking awesome.
It's awesome. Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, William Duvall did a great job. I mean, in at least approximating those harmonies. I think the spookiness of those harmonies were recreated. Obviously, he's his own singer when he does his solo stuff within those songs. And I think he sounds great. I think it's a different thing, but when they come together, I think that interval, that creepy interval that they had is approximated enough to where it's still nostalgic and a little creepy to me, And I agree with you. I think that record is killer. My favorite song off that record is A Looking in View. I think it's like track 5 or something.
That's a great song.
Fuck.
That's a great song.
That song is ridiculous, man. I think, wow. That's about all I can even say to that.
The last song, the song to Lane Staley that Elton John is like guests on.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! That the last track of that record is just so damn good. It just ends short. Like, damn it! This song could have gone on forever, and they just like cut it off. Like, nope, that's it.
Right. Damn. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man.
Great band. Great band. Great drumming too. That drumming, that was like, when I hear myself, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, you love Alice in Chains and Pantera and fucking, but I just like hear all my like Motorhead, you know.
Yep.
You know, but like, I love the drumming on all those records, on all the Alice in Chains records.
Yeah, very in the pocket, very musical. It's Sean Kinney is his name. He's super solid. Yeah, great drummer for sure.
And a lot of discipline, a lot of control.
Totally, man.
Yeah.
The last time I saw you was at Union Pool in Brooklyn. Not the night we did the interview, but it was a little bit later for y'all's for the third record. And I think you were playing your Ludwig kit that night with some extra stuff. Since then, have you bought purchased any particular drums of any kind that you're especially digging, or are you still playing the same stuff?
I'm still obsessed with that Ludwig classic maple sound.
Yeah, I bet.
It's I don't need to say anything else other than Ludwig classic maple, and everyone knows what I'm talking about already. That sound, I'm just addicted to that sound right now.
Yeah.
I have gone, I don't remember where I was size-wise. I think it's the same, though. Like, I was rocking, like, full Bonham sizes for a while.
Right.
Doing, like, the 14, 16, 18, had a 26-inch kick.
Yeah.
Well, early Bonham sizes, I should be more specific. And, yeah, since I went down to the 24-inch kick drum, it's just more controlled. And if I'm, you know, we have double bass going on now.
Right.
Like, I need a smaller drum for that.
Yeah.
And I'm still stuck on. I go between my Black Beauty and my Superphonic. Those are like my two snare drums.
You were playing the Black Beauty when I saw you at Union Pool.
And I'm always like back and forth. I can't decide which one I like better. It's just, I think it's a mood, you know?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Like, I love both of those. So yeah, I'm still hanging out there. There was this brand, though, I play, Electrical Audio has it. When we recorded Divided by Darkness with Stanford, they have those Jenkins Martin drums.
Absolutely.
Have you seen? Holy.
I've interviewed one of the owners, and we talked about how they make them and everything. They sound amazing.
And that was Divided by Darkness was those drums.
No way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think I put like a 14-inch. It was a floor tom. I don't want to say it was like 15 or 16 inches deep, as my rack tom.
Oh, damn.
Because I was like, I like a 14-inch rack, or 13's fine too, but like,
yeah.
And they did so, but it sounded great. We got it all tuned up and everything, and yeah, those drums are amazing. That spun fiberglass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those guys are doing it right.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to check out that episode, man. He went into the history of the company, getting the patent on that, and the design and everything else with it. He talks
from Blaymeyer, right?
Correct. It's a wild story.
Oh, I'll check that episode out
for sure.
Okay.
Man. Well, you know, I realized you were talking about how hot it's been in Arizona, and the last time we spoke, you were talking about riding motorcycles. So I'm assuming you weren't doing too much of that in triple-digit summer in Arizona the past few months.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just started riding again a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like once the sun's down. I don't ride in the summer here because you just did whatever. I'm not cooking in my helmet. I wear a helmet, a full face helmet. I didn't for years.
Yeah.
I do now. I'm trying to keep my brains in my skull.
Yeah. We talked about it. We talked about it last time, man. I was saying my grandfather actually died on one. He drove off the side of a mountain, and my dad always rode him, and his friends got fucked up. My dad has been lucky enough to have never been, but at some point I've considered doing it. But I mean, you know, I had two bikes because one of them has a baby seat, and I don't want to be trying to ride around Brooklyn with a fucking baby seat on the back of my bike without a baby in it because it shit looks ridiculous. But man, someone stole my other bike like a month ago, man. It was crazy.
No shit.
Yeah, and I got it on videotape, and I sent it to the cops. I posted it on Facebook, etc. And it was a woman, man. It was a woman and a man. They drove a minivan up, parked right outside my apartment. She looked at some other bikes, decided not to take any of those. She must have had hydraulic bolt cutters because my chain was uber thick, not supposed to be cut manually with bolt cutters. And on the looking at the video, the security footage, she walks down, and you have to walk down an alley to get to my bike. She must have clipped it off, and then the dude that was sitting in the passenger seat runs off, meets her. They throw my bike in their minivan, and then they drive off. Those fucking bitches.
Damn.
I know.
That fucking sucks. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Seriously. Well, shit, man. I guess for Enlightened in Eternity, it sounds like a couple of those tours got postponed till 2021. Are there any specific dates or a window where it's looking like y'all would be following up on those?
They for both tours, I believe they kept the dates. We just bumped them back a year.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And that may change, may not. I have no idea.
Totally.
But yeah, everything's just been pushed back one calendar year.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome, man. That's amazing that y'all would be going out with COC. That's one of the bands that I continue to listen to, and in particular for me, their 91 record, Blind, is one that I especially.
So fucking good.
Oh man, yeah, it's just slamming. I talk about that record a lot. I'm continue to be a fan of that one. My God.
Mm-hmm. I caught him on that last. Did you catch that Corrosion Conformity Crowbar tour?
I did not. When did they come through for that?
Shit. Was that 18 or 19? I want to say that was 19. Or no. No, that would have been last year. Dude, I'm all messed up, dude. I don't even know what year it is anymore.
Oh, yeah. No. See, they did come through, I think, in like the last year. Yeah.
Yeah. And we caught that here, and oh, my God. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, both of those bands, but it was so sweet. I had never seen Corrosion of Conformity before that night.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this is a crime that I've never seen this band live. You know?
Yeah.
And love all of the Southern metal bands so much. The fact that I hadn't seen COC.
Totally.
Like, dude, you got to see him or you're a poser.
Right.
Straight up.
Yeah. Spirit Adrift, no doubt, has COC up in there, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Nate and I both love that band. Love that band.
Yeah, no
all
doubt.
that shit. COC, Crowbar, Down, Pantera, I Hate God. I mean, all those fucking bands.
Yeah.
Soylent Green, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck. If anyone's listening, would you guys please bring back Soylent Green?
I know, man. I 100% agree. I
love that fucking band.
Yeah, dude. I interviewed Tommy, the drummer, and I was kind of poking at him to see if that was going to be anything that would be happening. And I don't know where the relationships are within the band of the three main members, but God, man, it would be. I sure would like to see him again. I got to see him a good bit back in the day. And I mean, the last record that they put out, Inevitable Collapse in the Presence of Conviction, I think it was like 2008 or so. That record is slamming, and it's like a big production. That shit is badass. That band is crazy.
They're one of my all-time favorites. They like really are.
Yeah.
And especially Some Out Secrets and Deleted Symphony for the Beaten Down.
Uh-huh.
Those were... And what fucking a Deleted Symphony for the Beaten Down? What a fucking cool album name!
I know, right? For real.
Yeah, that band was the total package. The artwork was great. You know.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Yeah. You know, one last thing that I'll say about when we mentioned COC and the Blind record in particular, at least for me, because I loved Reed Mullins drumming on that in particular. He was like full on crazy, somewhere between like Neil Peart and I don't even know what, like. Keith Moon, I don't know what he was channeling, but it was on that record, especially
one of a kind.
The drumming to this day, I still quote him unconsciously. It's been like wildly influential for me as a drummer. But I saw them on that. Touring on that record, and they opened, or at the very least, they played a one-off gig opening up for the Rollins Band in '92, and the Rollins Band had put out The End of Silence, and they played at this really amazing place, the New Orleans Music Hall, and COC opened up for them. It was kind of a weird pairing, but I got to see COC playing all the songs off of Blind, which I loved so much, and then of course Rollins Band came out at the time, and that band was on fucking fire at that time as well, man. It was a great show.
I wish I could have seen the Rollins Band. That would have been, yeah.
Yeah, I saw Rollins Band quite a few times back in the day. They were
Sick.
Raging. It was good shit, man.
Yeah, and what you said about Reed Mullins drumming, I mean, that guy's drumming is like so unique to him. Like you said, you can hear these other influences, but like, yeah, dude, yeah, people like Reed play drums like Reed.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And it's fun, and I fucking love that. I love that when you can put someone and be like, I think I know who this is, without like reading liner notes when you're growing up as a kid and being able to identify styles like that.
Right.
He is one of those drummers.
Absolutely, man. So before we go, man, just anything else in the plans that y'all are working on, and or you are even working on, trying to get through this fucking 2020 and into 2021?
We're excited to get this record put out. We're really hopeful that like the COC dates for 2021 will be good. You know, I'm hoping. I was saying the other day to a friend, I was like maybe, I don't know shit, by the way. Let me just preface what I'm about to say with I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I was just like, maybe like outdoor shows is the ticket with pods and shit. There's a venue here in Northern Arizona called the Orpheum. They just did like a show outside with like 50 people, I heard. I had a friend who played it, and they were like, everyone was set up in like little barricades 6 feet apart, and it was outside and shit. Mm-hmm. And apparently it went off pretty damn good.
Okay.
So I was like, well, maybe, that's fucking sucks for any venue without a parking lot, basically.
I know,
but like,
man.
Where I'm going with this is I'm hopeful that we'll get to play next year. Maybe it'll be more outdoor venues than, touring musicians are used to. Mm-hmm. But like, I know as a music fan, not even as someone who plays in a band, I fucking, as long as it's safe and responsible, I'll take whatever I can get.
Right.
If it's outdoors and raining, I don't give a shit. I'll stand there with a fucking umbrella and watch a band play. Like,
totally.
So we're hopeful that we can play next year and do these things. Who knows what that'll look like? Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's just kind of like, put one foot in front of the other, and we're just going to keep working and hope for the best in regards to live music.
Right.
Having that come back. But in the meantime. Staying busy with other projects here, like, I work on my own shit, and got a new dog, working on the house. Like, I don't know. I guess we're just going to hang out. But yeah, so like, we'll see. I think one of the things that we, a lot of bands are talking about is like, you have like the live streaming shows going on with the split cams. But I just watched the Down one. Mm-hmm. That they did, where they like rented out a venue or, just a space mm-hmm. set up like they're playing live. I think we're going to see more of that, of like bands that get together. Cause I mean, I'll watch the shit out of those. And if bands charge, I'll pay for all, like, this is what we do.
For sure.
We play music. So, any way we can do it, that's what I'm saying. Whether it's live streaming shows, outdoor shows, what the fuck ever. We're ready to jump back into that,
I hear you, man. Fucking A. Right on, Marcus. Well, it was great talking to you again, buddy. I hope to see you in person at some point. And
yeah,
man, good luck with the rest of it and navigating all the good stuff. And I'll be tuning in when y'all are doing some live streams as well. And again, good congrats on this new record, Enlightened in Eternity. And yeah, man, hope we catch up soon.
Yeah, man, and thank you, and congrats on the new family member and all that, the growing family. Stay safe out there.
I know, man. We'll talk soon, buddy.
All right, man.
All right, that does it for today's episode. Thanks to Marcus for rapping. It's good to catch up with him again, albeit remotely. Next time we do it, we'll have to actually do it in person and, watch a gig, and maybe I'll watch his gig, and we could hug and have some drinks, and be dudes, and listen to some rock and roll. It'd be fucking great. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Crash, bang, boom.